What I realize about conservatives is they now use the word conservative like liberals treat gender. Like, it can mean whatever you want it to mean.
With conservative people, they always try to be the moral high ground of the liberals. We're not the weird ones.
Yeah, right.
We're the smart ones. We're the decent ones. When do we start looking identical
to that? Yeah.
Because you can no longer say you have a problem with Cardi B if you're okay with half naked women that with a conservative label just because it's not as naked.
Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. So there's a calendar that went out. It's Conservative Women's Calendar, and so this is all a big problem, right? Bryson Gray is a conservative rapper. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's pretty popular in the conservative world when it comes to rap. And he talked about this because he disagrees with the calendar itself. And, you know, quite frankly, when I saw it, I thought the exact same thing. You know, but yeah, so anyways, we wanted to hear what he has to say about that because he talked about this because I think he got a lot of backlash because he kind of called out the problems with it. So we're going to watch what he has to say, and here we go. Bryson Gray.
So about this calendar situation happened, a guy who calls himself Conservative Dad essentially found women, some younger, some older, that he thought were attractive in the conservative space or the right-wing space. He then paid them or gave them a percentage of the proceeds to take pictures. A lot of them are risque pictures or sexually, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of the pictures are meant to have sort of a sexual tone to them. And he put the pictures in the calendar and he is marketing the calendar to conservatives because he calls his brand Conservative Dad. He said that these are conservative women. And even though multiple women on there are now claiming they're not conservative, and he's marketing this to conservative dads. So off the rip at that point, we do have a problem. One of the pictures from a specific somebody had a crucifix in it. Now, I don't really care too much about the crucifix itself. It's just a simple fact that Christian imagery is being used in the midst of this collection of photos that is clearly not Christian. So you can actually say it's meant to market to Christians and conservatives. And somebody named Samira, she posted a quick video of it that showed the cover, and the cover ended up being Riley Gaines in a two-piece with her back arched in front of a beer. And then it flips to the next page, and the next page was this other girl with in the kitchen with a short dress on. Hers wasn't that bad, stand alone, but I don't think it was modest either because the dress was too short. And it had a cross in the background. And this is in the same thing, and it's all to promote a beer company. So I quote tweeted, I just called it demonic. Now the word demonic itself got a lot of people in a frenzy, right? Because if you are a secularist or somebody who doesn't know anything about the Bible, then you think demonic can only be used for the worst things ever.
Yeah, you know, so he's right about that with the demonic thing. Because whenever we say that, sometimes people are like, you know, like it's crazy to be so extreme and say things are demonic. Like, no, we're not talking. When we say that word, we're not talking always necessarily like it's the exorcism where her head's spinning around. We're saying literally the behavior is Satan.
Anybody can look this up themselves. And Satan, the works of Satan is sin. That is clearly laid out in 1 John 3, where it says the devil has been sinning from the beginning, and the Son of God came for this purpose, to destroy the works of the devil, which is the context of sin. So the works of the devil is sin. So I can call any sin demonic. Yes, that includes gluttony. Yes, that includes lust. Yes, that includes homosexuality. Yes, that includes fornication. You can call any sin demonic. In a modern, secular, worldly sense, then I guess you can't. But I don't care about the worldly sense because I'm speaking from a biblical sense. So I'm biblically accurately calling out something that's meant to sell lust to men. Not only that, they're doing it. They're doing it under the guise of conservatism. And What I realized about conservatives is they now use the word conservative like liberals treat gender. Like it can mean whatever you want it to mean. Because conservative has essentially one definition. You can look up Oxford, you can look up Webster. Doesn't matter where you look up the definition. The definition requires you to advocate for and have traditional values. But what's really important, and the reason I'm even making this video, is a lot of y'all should actually look at what they're saying. Christians are calling out sin and immodesty. They say, shut up, because you're causing division and we need to win 2024 and we all need to be together. And all these people are sitting here trying to defend women dressing half naked, which is very weird.
Making, because he is kind of right. You know what I mean? Where there women exposing themselves, not having any modesty, is kind of the problem we're having right now, and this can lead to something even bigger. See, when you let things slide, it kind of has a snowball effect.
But that is how the devil works. The devil does work by baiting you into little things and little things and little things. So, you know, I mean, what he's saying is actually correct. I mean, the thing is that with conservative people, they always try to be the moral high ground of the liberals. We're not the weird ones.
Yeah, right.
We're the smart ones. We're the decent ones. We're the ones who do this. And then what we've done and what we're slowly becoming is what I think Bryson's trying to say is like what I was saying when we were talking about Candace Owens and working.
Yeah.
She's got 3 kids under the age of 5 and she can't wait to get back to work.
There's a lot of conservative.
Yet she will tell other women that they need to put their kids first. And I'm telling you that if you're working and you have 3 kids under the age of 5,
you didn't do that.
You should be at home. Because you don't need that money. George Farmer's rich.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hearing here. It's just like, when do we start looking identical
to that? Yeah.
Because because you can no longer say you have a problem with Cardi B if you're okay with half naked women that with a conservative label just because it's not as naked.
Like, where does it end?
Eventually it will be.
Yeah.
Because if we're okay with this, then we'll be okay with this. Because you know the conservatives are just the liberals 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yes. That's true.
Let's just keep it real. And now I think that what he's also trying to say is that because they're so afraid, the conservative voters are so afraid of losing the election, that they don't want anyone to not seem cool.
So they go center.
So they're going to go center.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing about Caitlyn Jenner. That the only reason, I think Matt Walsh said this. Matt Walsh did a good video on conservatism. He was just like, what are we conserving?
Yeah.
How are we different than the left? Because we are just them 8 years ago, I think is what he said. And I just thought it's the same thing as Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner was only allowed to talk for the right because they wanted to prove we got some gays too. You know, Blair White and all those. They just want to say, see, look, we're not bigots. Yeah. We've got our little group of gay people. Yeah. This is why I don't like to be called a black conservative.
Just conservative.
Because I'm just a conservative. See, we're not bigots. We like black people too.
Having a calendar catered to go to dads.
It's odd.
It's very odd to me, and I do think there's a hypocritical part of this too. Because I mean, obviously, what he's getting at is that it is kind of hypocritical because if you're saying that you're conservative, and then most of these people are saying they're Christian too.
Well, like, the people that I'm talking about are people who like to throw the Christian. They throw Bible quotes, and Candace Owens does. And, Nikki Haley, my point in saying this, and here she is running for president. Yeah. You know what I mean? So how are we different?
Yeah. That part I don't get.
Because we don't like pronouns?
Right. See, I don't get this is what we were saying this before in another video, is that it does seem like, that's Candace Owens one, is that it does, we're kind of mirroring.
We're trying to mirror
the left.
You can't out-left the left.
No.
If people want to see hot women, they definitely don't look at conservative dad. They could just go look at porn.
Yeah.
It's out there. But you're just trying to use this as a way of saying, hey,
we're cool too. Yeah.
Over the course of 5 days, I held multiple spaces. I let every single person speak, and nobody had good arguments. Like, because there is no winning formula for the opposing side. Also, I realized that a lot of people are so desensitized to sin, or they're not close enough to God that they don't even understand what immodest or immodesty is. If you don't think a 2-piece bathing suit is immodest, then nothing is immodest. There's nothing more immodest than a 2-piece bathing suit outside of being butt naked. There's nothing immodest about essentially having a bra on and then only some tight, short shorts. There's nothing modest about that. There just isn't. There's nothing modest about being half naked in a bathtub but only a bra on. Y'all are clearly trying to sell sex. And eventually they all admitted that, but they're still trying to do smear campaigns, and the smear campaigns is going to continue. And people are trying to stop me from getting press and tell people behind the scenes to stop working with me. And I just want to make this clear. I do not care. I have God. Only God can stop or start something for me, not the rest of you. And since I live for God in real life and I obey God in real life and I keep his commands in real life, he will take care of me. That's Matthew 6:33.
I think Gothics, she did a show called The Overton Window, and the Overton Window is just how they move us further to degeneracy, basically, without us really knowing it.
Right.
So 10 years, like 20 years ago, no one would have ever called Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner a woman.
Yeah.
They still would have said he. But because we've been made to feel like if we don't say she, we're being mean.
Right.
Now, could you imagine 1960, him coming out and doing that? No.
No.
Because in 1960, that would have never happened. Why? Because most people saw that as odd. And for us to pretend like this man is a woman is weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kids being able to choose their gender would have never happened, not even 20 years ago.
No.
Not even 15 years ago. But they moved the Overton window, which is to say they moved the bar little by little by little before we don't even recognize ourselves anymore. So the same thing here. You can be mad at Cardi B, which most conservatives are, mad at Cardi B. But when you start to accept Riley Gaines half naked,
it's like, okay.
then the next time you see it, it's a little more, and a little more, and then it's girl and girl, and then we're just, you know what I mean, in the mood. So it's the same thing. I think a lot of people, whenever you're, this is the thing about the Bible. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
And I think that's what is so great about the Bible is that it keeps you standing firm. Because God doesn't, it's like, hey, well, I don't change.
Yeah.
Y'all are changing.
You're not supposed to cherry pick.
Right. You're not supposed to cherry pick.
Yeah.
So when you start trying to, once you start pointing your finger at the opposing area and you start looking like them a little bit, well, then you can't fight anymore. And then that's kind of what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, again, what is, eventually, AOC and Candace Owens are going to look identical.
Yeah.
And then what will she really be fighting for?
But I do have a problem with there's a photo with one of the women. She's in her kitchen, I think, and there is a crucifix. It's a cross on her back, and it's not. So the imagery obviously is symbolic of religion. Yeah. But it's not even that. It's that the idea behind the entire video is suggestive sexually. You're selling sex, right? And so it is cringy to see someone in that picture, come hither, look. And then you see that big cross on the back. There's something that I find...
It's blasphemy.
It seems very demonic to me as well. Like, I don't like the idea of that because it's like you're trying to slowly get us to believe that this is okay, And again, it just snowballs. You just let everything slide now.
And then I heard that the conservative dad was doing the video because of trans men or trans women.
It's
trying to show
too,
these are real women.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show real women. Well, real women wear clothes.
Yeah.
Real women don't have to look like that. But because you are trying to out-left the left, you're trying to shock value, which is what the left does. They shock value all the time. That's why they're so successful.
Yeah, well,
you're trying to do that, but at the
culture.
same time, you lose your own footing trying to look on someone else's paper.
Yeah.
Trying to match up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't want to look like the left. I don't want conservative. No. Conservative means conserving traditional values. That's what it essentially means. And so that means moral values. This is morally. We're talking about this stuff too. So all this goes with his talk about modesty. That's part of the moral part of this. Like you don't, like I know women have sex appeal. I get that. We're women, I mean? But it's like, I get that part of your sensuality as a woman. That I don't think you should suppress that. But
I actually think that belongs
to sexuality, though. That
belongs to the man you're with. That does not belong to the world.
Yeah,
and that's a big problem with women today. Anyway, is that we give our sexuality to everyone. And Riley Gaines is married.
Yeah, That's
why
part.
she's doing a video like, or she's doing a, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Kim Kardashian was married and she was doing stuff like that. So how is she different?
Yeah.
That you see what I'm saying? Like, how is she different? How can you fight the left if you are the left?
Yeah, you can't.
And they will throw that in your face.
So what they'll say is, oh guys, so what you guys are saying is like, it's like prudish. Because women should be able to show their, women should be able to, no, they can. I'm not saying that the women can't do that. What I'm saying is that you're being hypocritical because you are condemning these other women for behaving this way, but then you're going to go sit in one of the pictures is one of the women sitting in a tub with her legs kicked up or something. She's like in a tub, and I'm like, suggestively, you guys don't know, this is this calendar, she's like selling sex.
What I like about Bryson is you have a black man who's standing up and not being a degenerate and a disgusting person, when it comes to women all the time.
I think Elliot Hulse was talking about that. The problem, the over-sexualization in general, what's going on today. He was saying that young men are having a really hard time with porn, and any kind of thing in that realm, and one thing leads to another. So these type of suggestive things will lead to, you have a problem with that. And I feel like it's lustful.
And the right wing men are the ones who brought this up.
I know,
saying that men have a problem with porn, and now here we're going to congratulate a right wing man because he's going to then put something out for men to have for young men to have a problem to look. You know what I mean? It's just like they get enough of that on the Instagram. They get enough of that. I think that Bryson's right. Matt Walsh, I remember he was saying, I love when because he did one on Andrew Tate where he disagreed with something, and he said, I love when I give out conservative values and people who are conservative get really mad.
Yeah, like what?
I love that. I love when I see people who get mad at me just being a conservative man.
Yeah, the reason why there is a Meg Thee Stallion is because we started off with just little things like a calendar. Okay, there was a Pamela Anderson calendar, and then now look where we're at. You see what I'm saying? Like, it just, snowballed, and then everyone's like, oh my God, we didn't mean for it to go this far. Right. But it's because you started here, you were okay, you let that creep in. You let the bikini photos creep in, a suggestive. It's not like fun people playing on the beach. No, this is like suggestive sexual
when
photos.
Elvis Presley was on Ed Sullivan.
Yeah.
Was it Ed Sullivan?
I think it was Ed Sullivan, yeah.
Anyway. And he was gyrating his hip. They wouldn't show his hips because they thought it was sex. But you know how many men and women protested
against
parents?
They were like,
protested on that. But it just goes to show you how desensitized we are, because this could never fly. This is the Overton window. It's showing you that how we have all changed. Like today's conservative would be the 1960s liberal.
Yeah. Yes. 100%.
I mean,
but the parents back then, during that whole situation, is that they knew that it could.
They always said it too.
They knew it could snowball into something else, and then it did.
And then even again, I hate talking about Matt Walsh, but he did talk about this, and he said they said then that this would go out of control.
Yeah.
And look at us today. Well, they were right, and we were wrong.
Well, we did a video on Phyllis Schlafly. You guys know who she is? She even said that. When the interviewer asked her, this was in the 80s, that's the 80s or 70s? I feel like it was the 80s that they did that interview. But the interviewer asked her, what do you think is going to be the end going to be with the women going forward? And so she said, I think that women are going to become more masculine, and I think they are going to want to stop having children. And that was decades ago. And fast forward to now, women have pretty much stopped having children, and they've gone to work, and they've become more masculine. She said that then because she saw it, because she was going against the feminist movement. She was, a sweetheart of the silent majority. That was her nickname or whatever. And so she saw it then, fighting for the patriarchy basically, and keeping that in line, Christian values and things like that. And so for her to say that during that interview in the 80s, and that lady asking her, like, where do you think it's going to be? How do you think we're going to be 20 years from now? Was she not right?
But she also said that women working while they have children would destroy children.
Yeah, and she
now
said
look
that.
at the right wing.
So when people say to us, well, you know, it's not going to be that, like, you're being too extreme with it. It's not going to be that bad, blah, 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 you know, it'll all be regulated. Blah, blah. I'm like, no, but see, if I'm telling you, if they knew about Elvis, if people knew that Elvis showing his hips was going to eventually be a problem, and it ended up being one, if Phyllis Schlafly can see that women are going to want to start not having kids and being more masculine and this be workaholics and upset, and she said women are going to be mad. She said women are eventually going to be mad and angry and bitter.
You know, I just think people should...
He's right.
He's right.
He's 100% right.
But, you know, it takes a lot of guts to say the right thing when everybody wants to jump on a bandwagon.
Yep,
and the truth is, he's doing what he's doing. As a Christian, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to
call this out.
Call it out.
You don't call it out.
You're supposed to reject culture as a Christian. And I do reject culture. Culture is...
Yeah,
it is toxic, and
it's bad.
It is all about sexuality, materialism, and
anger,
and just deception. And this is what the world has to offer, by the way. And this is why we need a savior. This is why we have one. And so when someone who's given his life to Christ then says what you're supposed to say, it makes sense. By the way, he's not just saying it. I mean, it makes sense. By the way,
he's right.
He's right. He's right. Sorry, but he is correct.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Please leave a comment below. And that's it. We will see you guys in the next video. Bye.